Yes.
Yes,
Good
we're recording.
afternoon. Oh, recording. Happy Halloween for those of you who enjoy pagan holidays. Sorry for my personal opinion, but that's it. Welcome to episode 2 of Waves and Wheels, with looking back with Paul and Dennis. On the first episode, we introduced ourselves and went over our vast knowledge of surfing.
Well, the beginning of it, yes.
The beginning of boomer surfing and all of that. And we want to continue with the skateboarding issue. As you can see, Paul behind us tearing up the what was it, concrete wave?
Yeah, it was the pool at the concrete wave in Anaheim.
On a skateboard that Paul and I constructed, and you can see Harbor ripped it off with his name.
That's my claim to fame there. Yeah, I mean, it all started early. I want to say, well, that would have been about 73, because I had just graduated from high school. You were working at the surf shop at the time. That would have been Harbor Surfboards in Seal Beach. And I was basically one of those guys that just came and hung out at the surf shop and bothered people. And it was right at the beginning when the Cadillac, I guess they were Cadillac wheels, right? Were they Cadillacs the first ones that came out?
Yeah, that's the first one I can remember. Yeah.
I think it was Cadillac. The little yellowish urethane wheels with loose ball bearings in them.
Yep.
And Harbor, being the entrepreneur that he was and the businessman that he was, saw it starting to take off, and immediately jumped on the bandwagon with it, and wanted to get involved.
I was getting, I want to cut in on that
go
right
ahead.
there. It was our motivation also. I mean, it wasn't the whole industry. Paul and I had been making our own skateboards for, I don't know, a couple months before that, and doing the whole tour, visiting the parks, going to backyard pools, pipeline, upland pipeline, everywhere. And he was starting to have the interest, and yes, his entrepreneurial attitude, did change. He just got involved. I remember we used to have to put the ball bearings in the wheels when we were assembling everything. I mean, we were assembling everything to avoid, to take the cost, keep the cost down.
Yeah,
we were a big part of that. It wasn't all him. I'm sorry, I wasn't.
Yeah, no, I understand where you're going with that. He did, fortunately for I think all of us too, though, had the wherewithal and the intelligence to see where it was going, and jumped on it. But back in those days, Dennis and I were assembling wood boards. We were trying to find boards that we could just, shape it like a small surfboard type of thing, and we'd stuck trucks on them with the urethane wheels, and we were riding them up and down the street in Main Street. All the little doorways on Main Street, Seal Beach had little.
Yeah, they had
little banks
little
on
ramp on it. We'd hit the lip on those.
And then I think Harbor saw that, and he saw everything else that was going on, and that's when, like Dennis said, he decided to get involved. But in those early days, I think a little bit before we got into pools and pipeline and skate parks, we were finding ditches. And now that I remember, we went to that ditch in...
Oh, the one we're in Harbor.
Yeah, God bless Rich, man. But we went to that ditch in, where is it? It was
I'm not sure.
Military base
Yeah.
in Orange County. I'm trying to remember the name of the little area out there. It'll come to me. But it was out by the military base, right in Orange County in Irvine. But it was further inland. I can't remember what the name of it was. But there was a big V ditch there. And at the end of the V ditch, and it kind of sunk down like this.
Slope on it.
And at the end of the V ditch was a tunnel, but you could skate over the top of it.
Yep.
And it had a really nice transition at the bottom. It was a little clinky, but it had a nice transition. And we had ridden it a couple of times. And at that time, remember, we're riding boards that are about 6 inches wide at the most, and not very long. And we took Harbor. He wanted to film.
Yeah, he was doing some photographing. Yep.
Yeah, he wanted to film because he was going to get into making skateboards. And we took him there, and it was you and I and a couple other people. I don't know who else, but it maybe Steve Thomas and Steve Olson.
Yeah, I think it was,
Maybe
Thomas.
Yeah. And somebody else from the shop went. I don't know what's Glenn but somebody else from the shop went. I remember that. And we were there, and Harbor was watching us riding back and forth on this thing, and and it was a long throw from one side to the other. It wasn't real close. So you would come down one side, clink, clink, and ride all the way to the other side, clink, clink, and make we weren't even doing real kick turns at that time.
Yeah, just turning it.
Yeah, and Peter Brouillet went. Did he not?
I'm not sure.
I don't know. Peter was a photographer that used to photograph Denis a lot, and for Surfing Magazine. And Harbor, how old would Harbor have been at that time?
I don't know.
Like 40?
45.
Yeah. And, God bless him, he wasn't in the greatest shape of his life, physically. But he had surfed before when he was younger and stuff. And he still was in the water every now and then at that age. And he wanted to try it. And I remember Dennis, Rich trying to talk him out of it. No, I'll be all right. I'll be all right. And, he didn't even try to just ride the skateboard. He got at the top of that bank and went down. And when he hit that transition, man, he went so fucked up.
He kept going.
So hard on his ass, man.
Yeah, he kept going. I can still feel the ground.
Oh, man.
I mean, you could feel it when he hit, and it was scary.
And it really was. He hit hard.
Yeah.
And everybody, was there, just wanted to die laughing, but nobody did.
Yeah, after you held your breath.
You held your breath, and
you want to crack up laughing.
and he just kind of looked around like, holy crap. And you could verbally see him say, yeah, I'm not doing that again. and that was his introduction to the new world of skateboarding, because I'm sure he probably rode on when clay wheels were going around and stuff like that.
Well, and we had, we remember we were putting the boards in a bucket of water overnight, and then we'd put it in the door jamb and bend the tail, and we were also adding just a section on it, doubling up, and then sand it down and make a kick tail for it.
Yeah, we would put blocks of wood on the end of the board, and then we'd sand it so we'd get that little kick tail, but you didn't get it on the bottom,
And Rich, again, the entrepreneurial spirit.
God, Rich.
He caught a hold of that, and what did he spend? 10 grand on that press?
He must have.
He made a press where we were using 12-ply birch. We were using four pieces of 3-ply birch, and he was actually gluing them together with the kick tail in it, with a just great big giant mostly metal press.
But it had a nice laminate finish on it, so nothing would stick.
Good wood, and he also made a machine to carve wheel wells in it. We put the board on it like it was on a big sanding wheel, and you just push it over. I mean, he was very, very intelligent.
But before he did that, he made a flat press. Remember the long boards that were about this long and about that wide that were shaped with a small square tail on them? Yeah. I have 2 of them in the garage.
Yeah, and then he fiberglassed them.
And then he put a layer of glass with a Harbor sticker across the top. And that was his first. He actually pressed that plywood, all that plywood.
Yep.
And he made that press on his own, which just blew me away. And then he come out with slabs that were 4 foot by
4 by 8.
4 by 8 slabs.
You cut the templates out.
And we cut them out.
Go from there.
And then he built a router jig, and we put them on the router jig and route them out. And that router jig also had the 4 holes in it for the truck. So everything was spaced properly, cut properly, right from the very beginning. Well, so how intelligent this guy was.
Well, and the jig that cut also had a blade on it that rounded the edge of the skateboard too. So we used to sand it by hand, and You know, we had hours of work in these boards, and he just automated it.
Yeah, and again, to take it to the next step, like Dennis was saying, that's when we started gluing on the tail block and soaking and wetting those boards to bend the tails.
Yeah.
And he saw us doing that, and he asked why, and we showed him why, and he just went, "Oh, okay," and he got that press. And he changed it and made it with the kicktails on it, on each side. And he would press the wood so you'd have a kicktail on each side on alternate boards.
And you cut in between. Yep.
And you cut them in between. And all of a sudden now, and he dropped the fiberglass.
Right, no fiberglass.
And then he dropped it and made it, like Dennis said, with the holes were drilled in it. There were wheel wells in it.
We had a custom slip tape on it.
Yeah, grip tape with
grip tape on it. It was what was it, kind of a clay red and black.
Yeah.
On each side, and it was all cut to fit. We would just have to.
And the sticker went right in, you know, and that's what that board is, right?
That's exactly.
That's that board right there.
Yep.
And you can see there's a Harbor logo on the
And I
top.
want to make it well known that board there, I didn't get my $1 for, so Paul owes me $1. It was my signature.
That was a
model.
prototype.
Yeah,
that was. Yeah.
He made a signature model for me, and I got
Show the picture.
$1 per board. Well, this is not the board. This is one of the boards that Paul and I made. Well, I made it myself, and this is fiberglass. It's actually blue on the bottom, and I think it was yellow on the top or something. I don't know what it was, but it's got a bunch of handwriting. Actually. Permanent marker.
Do you have that picture of the ad from Harbor?
I do somewhere, but not currently.
Okay.
But yeah, those boards, we sold them all over the place.
Yeah, I remember.
We almost got, you know what happened? All of that is big industry, and it happened with clothing too, and surfing industries. Like, you know, big department stores would come in and say, "Hey, I want 9,000 of these boards. What's your price?" And you give them a 9,000 board price, and then they canceled after 3.
Yeah.
So and they were doing that, and to the clothiers also in the industry, the big business was coming in, and you know, so they saw potential. And
I remember I showed up with that board that's in this picture right there at a skate park and was riding it, and a guy came in and said, "Where did you get that?" And I told him where it was. And everything, and he went and gave Harbor an order for 350 of them the next day. Harbor just was ecstatic.
He didn't give you nothing?
Oh, hell no.
He gave you a board.
He gave me a
Oh,
board.
I appreciate
He
it.
gave me a
It.
skateboard.
It was $350 for me.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, back then, I mean, that was a lot of money. I mean, I wasn't making a living, but I didn't have to work. I was surfing and skating, which, you know, was...
But back to the original, Dennis was building these skateboards in the back, and he did everything between laminating them, cutting them out, and using the router on them to assembly. And he didn't want to do the assembly work, and I don't blame him because it was tedious as could be. And I was hanging out in the shop one day wanting to go surfing, and he was like, "Well, you know, I got to get these boards built before we can go." And I'm like, "Okay, I'll sit down and help you build them." And so I sat that little side room in Harbor Surfboards. And I sat down and started building boards with him. And Harbor came in after we had a whole bunch of these things stacked up. And Dennis looked at him and said, Harbor asked who I was, and Dennis told him I was his friend. And he said, "Look what he helped me build." And he looked at Harbor and he says, "You should give him a job." And Harbor hired me on the spot. I'm like, "Yeah, my dream comes true. I work in a surf shop."
Yeah.
You know, and Dennis was like, "Yeah, now I can get out of this room."
Those are the days. I mean, you know, we would do that for free.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly, just, you know, it was the recognition and just being in that groove of the surfing thing that, you know, that everybody wanted to. You were being envied by everybody, no matter, you know, what level you were at. You know, which was really actually something I didn't care for.
And of course, one of the best things about being working for Harbor at that time was, as soon as you became an employee, you got to order a board.
Yeah.
You know, so once I got my first paycheck and I was, you know, worked for the shop, I ordered my first surfboard from Harbor Surfboards. And as long as you turned them in and they were surfable, you could order a new one.
Another one, yep.
And so I was able to get free boards from that point forward. And I think for the majority of my life, from that point forward, I've gotten not only free boards, but have never paid full price for a surfboard since.
I get sticker shock when I
Oh,
can't pay full price either because of that.
Yeah.
I agree. I'm a wholesale guy.
Yeah, so it was a very unique experience, and you know, that started my life working at a surf shop. And you know, as Dennis was saying, as a kid, growing up surfing, and you know, all the kids wanted to work at surf shops. I mean, that's what you wanted to do. Mm-hmm. And you wanted to be around all those guys that surfed. And, you know, not only exposed me, you know, Dennis and I got to be really good friends and friends for our life since then. I mean, you know, we're 70, he's going to be 71 this year, and I'll be 71 next August. And we were 17, 18 years old, and we've known each other all that time.
We reversed our age.
Yeah, and but then there were guys in that shop that were, you know, that I got to know, like Mike Wilson. Mm-hmm. You know, great surfer, great guy, intelligent as hell, acted as a mentor for me. Mm-hmm. I got to know Harbor, great mind, great guy, wouldn't teach me how to shape. Had to throw that in, I'm sorry.
Kind of out of respect, I guess, and fear. Respect.
Yeah,
Fear is a form of respect.
I think his MO was that, you know, if you want it bad enough, you'll try to learn it on your own, then come see me. Mm-hmm. But then there are other guys around, like Glenn, great guy. So, you know, and then that one that we will not mention.
Okay.
Yeah. Captain Klink. Colonel Klink. And sorry.
Okay.
Kurt, sorry. But no,
maybe we'll give him a chance to make better.
Yeah, I think we should, as good human beings, we should do that.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a good time, and you know, also a good time to grow up in Seal Beach. And right after that is when Dennis and I moved in with each other.
We're gonna brag. What was it? $150.
$150
for the 1-bedroom apartment, 3rd floor of a 4-story building.
Half a block from the beach.
Half a block, less than half a stone's throw from the beach.
Yeah, literally could get up in the morning and walk not even 5 minutes, and you were standing on the pier at Seal Beach,
Checking everything out.
checking the waves.
Unfortunately, being in the 3rd floor, we had like 6 inches above, there was a pipe or something. You could look out the bedroom window, standing on something on the top of the window, and barely see the river.
Yeah.
But yeah, it didn't have a great view, but it was an awesome location, and $75 a month for rent.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Things changed a little bit.
Yeah, we were literally right next door to a liquor store, right across the street
On top of it,
right across the street from Grandma's Cookies,
and
ice cream, and the taco shop.
Yeah. Well, that was.
What was the taco shop?
Oh man, I forgot that one. But what about the diner right across the street too? We used to eat there, breakfast there all the time. There was a little diner. I forget. There was a cute little name to that too.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good place. Seal Beach was a really neat place to live in those days.
Don Juan's was the taco shop.
Taco shop, yes.
And my friend Steve's brother was the chef in there, so I had quite a few free meals in there.
I love the deluxe quesadilla.
Oh, man, nobody makes that.
Oh, it was delicious. That was delicious.
My favorite thing.
Yeah, but it was a great time to be a young guy surfing with not a lot of responsibilities, except feeding yourself and paying your rent, basically.
You know, it's interesting how we had that time back then, and you know, ends met. I don't know how, you know, just like we smoke and mirrors, but it was awesome.
Well, I remember, you know, I can remember it real clear that I made $50 a week working at the surf shop.
Yeah.
You know, my share of the rent was $75.
Yeah.
So in the first 2 weeks, I paid half of my rent. I paid my rent, and I had $25 left over, and I had the next 2 weeks that were $100, and I lived on that. That's what we lived on in those days. But you know, gas was 18 cents a gallon then.
No, I was making $5 an hour at the shop.
Yeah.
So, but it was full time. But you know, when the waves were good, they'd kick me out.
Yeah.
And still pay me.
They didn't do that for me.
Well, that was, yeah, there was ways for them to, compensate that they should. That industry made tons of money off of people like myself, and and they never shared it. They didn't intend to either. So, he found a couple ways to get me some money, but it's to their benefit. It's you can't be that stupid. If you want to do it all yourself and reap the benefits, that'll last a very short time.
But what was really nice about it is the shop, if I remember correctly, the shop didn't open till 10, and it closed at 5. And during the summer, you could get up early, surf for a couple hours, get to work, get off work, and surf until dark. And during the winter, you could get up and surf for a few hours. You didn't get to surf in the evening, it didn't work till 5 because it was dark. But you got to surf every day. And from what I remember, in those days, there were very few days where there weren't waves. I don't know if we had lower standards or what, but there were very few days that we didn't surf.
Yeah, it wasn't the greatest waves, but I attribute that to my versatility. I mean, it helps me. I can recall there's something that to this day, even when I was surfing out here 5 years ago in Carlsbad, that I have a tendency to make shitty waves look good, and then people come out. I've had people come out and say, "You think you're going to get all these waves to yourself?" I mean, paddle right up to me and say that, and it's just that's a, what do you want to call it? I mean, it's how people view things. I'm just in my little world trying to make things work, and I'm figuring things out on crappy waves and making them good, and somebody wants to come and take it from you. So.
But one of the things, going back to how often we were able to surf, which obviously, the more you surf, the better you're going to get. It's just one of those things, the more you do it, the better you're going to get. But one of the things I loved about living there during that time, especially during the summer months, was that we could, when we got off work, if we worked late or something, or there, glass off in the afternoon or something, we would get our surfboards because of how close we were to everything, walk down to the beach, which took a couple of minutes, and then we could walk down to the Long Beach end of Seal Beach to where the river is and crabs and all that, and surf. And because it was the summer, it was warm and everything, so number one, didn't wear a wetsuit. I don't know what's happened these days, but people wear wetsuits all the time. We never wore wetsuits in those days. And we'd surf till dark, literally dark, and we'd walk home in the moonlight on the beach, and I mean, you're just spent, you got water dripping out of all your sinuses and everything like that. Go across the street to Don Juan's and get a deluxe quesadilla or something for dinner, go home and crash.
And then we added skateboarding to it.
Yeah.
I mean,
and that just, and I guess we were supposed to be talking more about skateboarding.
No, that's okay, because it does. No, there was a gap in there, and that's what I was saying. Now I'm looking at your picture, and it does remind me that there was kind of it just was lulling, and then when skate parks opened up, things changed again on the skating end of it. And this is where Paul on that particular photo. That's Anaheim Concrete Wave. One of the first places we went.
That was an actual skate park.
But actually the first one, remember the Carlsbad skate park?
Carlsbad skate park by the raceway.
And the guy tried to kill me?
Yeah.
You remember that? This guy was on a aluminum slalom board riding the bowl, and I was standing outside the bowl, and he fell and shot the thing, and it hit me right in the leg. I thought it was going to cut my leg off. Yeah. But that place, did we even ride that? It wasn't very good.
It was just a pump, like a pump track almost, before there were pump tracks.
A little bowl.
In a little bowl, and that was it. But the concrete was really smooth, and it had nice little banks going all the way through it. And then, again, we got to remember at the beginning of all this is before people were doing, big old kick turns and tail slides and all the other stuff that
it was all more just turning and.
It was more surfing moves.
Yeah, exactly.
But we drove all the way to Carlsbad just to skate that thing. And loved it, man. I mean, it was fun.
Was the Concrete Wave the next one?
I believe it was.
And then Skatopia.
And then Skatopia after that. But between the Concrete Wave and Skatopia, obviously were pools and things like that. Because the pool at the Concrete Wave came later.
Yeah.
They added that.
Yep.
But the Concrete Wave and Skatopia, but between the two of that, we were skating places like the Upland Pipeline, and there was a pool in that area that we're
Fruit
skating.
Bowl.
Oh, and the Fruit Bowl, of course, Fruit Bowl.
Garbage Grove.
In Garden Grove, yeah. And then, but also, do you remember the pool at Vista? The Vista Skate Park pool that was right up off of the 78? That we came down one morning to skate it early and somebody had poured paint all over it. Do you remember that?
No.
Oh, so bummed. But it was, again, a really nice pool.
Oh, yeah.
And guys, it
What
was
about Del Mar,
it was a
though,
key,
also? There was
but that was later.
Yeah, Del Mar was a lot later, and that was a really good one.
That
I
was
don't
a
even
great
know if I don't think I rode that. That was Tony Hawk and all those guys.
I think that was after.
that era. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't think we were skating it.
But the first three
Mm-hmm.
were Carlsbad,
Concrete.
Wave, Skatopia.
But where did you worked at one? It was Paramount.
Well, I worked at the Concrete Wave.
I was going to ask. I don't remember if I ever worked there.
You
I
didn't.
don't remember you did. I don't think I did.
No, you didn't.
Yeah.
I worked at the Concrete Wave, and after I left Harbor, I went and worked at the Concrete Wave. And then after the Concrete Wave, I went to Mammoth for that season. And when I came back from Mammoth, I worked at Paramount, which was gnarly as hell. It's a whole nother story.
I still panic when I think of that giant bowl that I tried to go up to the top. One time I got like 5 feet from the top, and I can still feel the fear. It scared me to death. I thought I was going to fall straight down and hit the bottom of my head. It was, what was that, 15 feet of vertical? It was over 10 feet.
It was
vertical.
about 10 feet. It was about 10
it was
feet.
around 10 feet after the slope of vertical.
Yeah. The whole bowl was probably about 18 feet deep.
Yeah,
It was, you know, I remember the very first time I saw that place. I knew somebody that worked there. They said they were looking for a manager. I went down to talk to the people, and I walked in, or maybe you and I walked in, and I walked in and I looked, because it was right in the entrance, and you look around and I looked over the corner and I just went, holy shit.
Remember that Greg Ayers?
Yeah.
The guy was like over 6 foot tall. That he was
Yeah.
riding that like it was a kiddie pool.
Yeah. Well, the guy that blew me away and it was the Worm, Kevin Anderson.
Yeah.
He rode that thing better than anybody.
Yeah. Well, he was from the Pipe, wasn't he? Pipeline.
No, he was I think a South Bay guy.
Kevin Anderson.
A real skinny guy, little guy.
No, I know. I remember him by the Worm. I don't.
Yeah.
I just don't remember where he came
Yeah, he was just incredibly fast and brave, because you had to be.
Let's take the brave thing and go. Remember George Jordan?
Oh well.
We went from brave to stupid. I'm sorry, George,
but he was so good.
Yeah, but yeah. He hit so hard so many times.
Yeah.
But he went for it. He was to me, the first go for it guy that I've seen. It's not surfing. You're not falling on water, dude.
Yeah. And we were around enough and skating enough areas, because I remember we went up north, or not up north, we went into Torrance and skated at the park in Torrance that had the half pipe. And I was watching people skating all over. We skated backyard pools in Long Beach and all over up in that area. And I never once saw anybody pull an air until I saw George Jordan do it.
Yeah.
So, there may have been somebody doing one somewhere else, but we never saw anybody do one until he pulled one. Yeah. And we were well traveled enough to see it, I think, if it was being done. Yeah. And I know TA and Jay and those guys up in Santa Monica said they were doing them, and I'll never say anything about those guys, not because they were so far ahead of everybody in a lot of what they did, so they may very well have been doing it, but George was one of a kind, man. He really was.
Yeah, he was a showstopper. People would, when he's there, you would stop and watch him.
Yeah.
Every time.
And he was there a lot.
Yeah.
Because we used to skate with him a lot.
Remember at Skatopia, there was that half pipe, and one side had just an edge and
A bowl.
railing, and then and there was a little crap bowl at the end.
Yeah.
But the other side butted up against a brick wall, and it had
About an inch.
3 inch, no, it was 2 or 3 inches
Was it?
of an overhang, and then it was a brick wall, and he used to ride right up that and then try to come down without, he'd hook the trucks on the back once in a while on that thing and just eat crow.
But he started making that
And he
and
started
figured
making
out how to unweight off his back foot
Yep.
and let it click over that. And then I remember I saw a guy one time that had one of those little metal things off of his back truck onto the bottom of his board that would hit and let him slide.
You know what's interesting? Now that you say that, I'm kind of wondering, because that bowl at the end, I remember at one point I started dropping in that.
Yeah,
and
you're the
go
one that
up
started
high
it.
And then come up the other wall, and I was doing board slides. I was tearing the crap out of the bottom of my board. And when it got to the point to re-enter the bowl, or the
Pipe.
the pipe, the trucks would hook, and I'd unweight my back foot and let it in and go.
Yeah.
And I want to mention that I taught Stacy Peralta that move in person, taught him that. And then he went on the Skateboarder magazine
And claimed
on
it.
tips and showed everybody how to do it, and never mentioned to me at all.
Yeah, claimed
I
it.
physically showed him how to do it. But now I'm glad you said that about George. I was wondering, how the heck did I start that? And that's how I did. George's influence on the unweighting your feet, when you had
Yeah.
something like that. Because I would full on lock the trucks and just unweight the back foot and let it come back down in. It was a maneuver in itself.
Well, and you also were, they didn't name it that, but we named it the roll backster. You remember that?
I know.
Where you would come up, stop, roll back, and go back down on the side of the pipe.
Oh yeah,
And you would slide the front wheels around as you were rolling backwards.
some other name for that too.
Yeah, I don't remember what they call it, but
I think that part, Skatopia, to me, had the most progressive thing
Oh,
going
yeah.
on, and it was low key.
yeah, it was. Well, back in those days, we were there a lot. You remember Eric Von Erb? You remember Eric?
No.
He used to skate fruit bowl with us too. He skated there a lot.
Well, I've seen the Logans there all the time.
Yeah. Steve Olson was there all the time. Ray Bones Rodriguez. Ray was incredible, man. Little guy.
No,
Hauled ass.
Arnie Hogue.
Arnie Hogue. Arnie Hogue bailed out of Southern California and moved to Utah.
Or something. Yeah, he went
Snowboarding. He was at the forefront of snowboarding and was involved with who's the really big Burton.
That's
Yeah.
true. That's right. I remember that.
Yeah. And yeah, Arnie was good. And yeah, Ray Bones was there a lot. And then every now and then guys like Stacy would show up, and we would skate with Steve Thomas there a lot.
Yeah.
Who else did we skate with there a lot?
It was a melting pot over there.
Yeah.
But again, it was low key. It wasn't.
It was fun.
Some of those places were like pretty intense just because of that. Everyone
Yeah.
wants to get noticed.
Yeah. And then I remember we ventured up to, we were told sometime between us starting to skate at Pipeline, Skatopia, and Concrete Wave, that's when we started going up to Baldy and skating the Pipeline at Baldy. And I remember how much fun that was because you had to sneak into it.
Yeah.
You had to walk up the drainage ditch, which was like a big giant
You also
culvert.
had the pit there too. And
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
if you didn't stop.
Yeah, had a pit right at the end of the culvert before you got to the pipe, and you could sit on the side of this pit, sit right there and look, and the pipeline was right there in front of you.
Yeah.
And the unique thing about the pipeline is the outside walls were curved like the pipe.
Yeah. So you could pump back and forth outside of
Yeah.
it for as long as you could keep it.
But there was only about 20 feet between the pipe and that big hole in the pit, and then the pit was about 15 feet wide.
Yeah. Yeah. You could barely jump.
You could
across
barely
if you wanted
jump
to.
it.
There was usually like
A plank.
or something
Yeah.
hanging on it.
A 2x8 or a 2x10 or something like that you would walk across. And it wasn't very deep, but it was just muck. And then you would put the plank across the front of it, so if you lost your skateboard, it would hit the plank and not go in the muck. And but I remember the first time we went there was no water. at the bottom of the pipe. You know, every now and then there was a trickle of water coming down.
Yeah.
And, but there was no water at the bottom of the pipe. And you could walk all the way to the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
And we started just skating,
It wasn't too sloped too, to where you would get going out of control fast.
No, but the thing about skating a pipe versus skating like a half pipe ramp or a half pipe versus the way they have them now, where they have the transition, and they have flats in the bottom, is this was immediate. As soon as you left one end and got to the halfway point at the bottom, you were going up.
That's true. There was no transition.
Yeah, so
in the bottom.
you got to, with the way they build ramps these days, where there's a gap between the transitions. Mm-hmm. You get to actually set up for the next thing.
Or recover from a maneuver.
You get a little bit of a break.
Yep.
But I remember we used to obviously try to see how high up the wall we could get, and this wasn't such a big pipe.
And it actually never. Well, I mean, technically it did reach vertical, but it went sub-vertical.
Yeah, as soon as you got to the halfway point on the wall,
you're past vertical.
Going past vertical.
And we were trying to do that, a little bit, once in a while. But
yeah, and you could. I remember if you were going front side, if you got a good carve kick turn up into that area, you could brush your rear end and your back against the side top of the pipe.
Seen pictures of Waldo doing that.
Oh, well,
Yeah, that's...
Waldo rode it better than anybody.
Yeah.
Because he would ride down that pipe, right at the end of the pipe, and then click out on the outside wall, because eventually the pipe would keep turning and the wall went vertical outside, and he'd click out of the pipe onto the outside vertical wall and ride outside. And I remember the first time we saw video of him riding that place, blew everybody away. Yeah.
Did he discover it?
Yes.
I think either he did or he was...
He was one of the first guys to ever ride it.
First guys to ride it.
Well, first guys to ride it and be recorded riding it.
Right.
You know, so who knows who rode it before him?
True.
But that's when everybody started looking for pipes. I remember that, and that's when they found those desert pipes. Remember those big giant 20-foot desert pipes in Arizona and stuff like that? Yeah. Sections of pipe that they were building a pipeline out there. You know, and so, you know, at that point, a really good backyard pool or riding a half pipe or a pipe was a thing, and that's what obviously got Skatopia to build a half pipe, and then also what sprung Upland Pipeline Skate Park. Mm-hmm. You know, with a really good big pipe and a big pool at the end of it. Yeah. But the one thing about Mount Waldy Pipeline, is it was very smooth. Yeah. It was smooth as silk. You know, you couldn't feel the transitions. Mm-hmm. No transition between sections. It was just smooth as silk. It was a really nice ride. Scary, but nice. And then of course you always had the thing that was so nice about it was you always had to worry about getting caught by the guard. Yeah. You know, and I was caught a couple of times. You know, told to leave. Didn't get busted, but was told to leave a couple of times. So that was a lot of fun. Where else did we go that was really cool?
Yeah, I think that was kind of our stretch right there, because I know, like I said, when they built Del Mar, I'd never gone there.
No, but we still skated a lot. Yeah. Lakewood Skate Park came along. That was a really good skate park. Yeah. Had a really long half pipe steep. Mm-hmm. And then there was the Paramount one. Mm-hmm. Do you remember that pool that we found in Long Beach in that alley, where we were told to go look for it, and we went, and it was in an abandoned house backyard, mm-hmm. and it had all that rock on it. Do you remember that? Yeah. It had the little steps on the side.
Mm-hmm. You don't want to go over the step.
Yeah. And it had like a little like a love seat that stuck out the wall that you could carve over it, or grind off of it, or board slide on top of it. Yeah. And I remember us going there, and there was like 3 or 4 kids skating it, mm-hmm. and you know they wanted to see us ride it. And we started riding it. We were just it wasn't steep. It was easy. It wasn't easy. It had good transitions. Yeah. It was a really easy pool to ride. and we were just tearing it up. I remember, and they couldn't believe it because they hadn't seen anybody skate like that. And we were just tearing it up, and the next thing we know, the whole backyard was full of people watching us skate. I mean, it was unreal. We had such a good time. And we skated there about 4 or 5 times, and then it just got so packed with people, we stopped going, which was usually the case.
It was so cool, the word of mouth. You know, that's how you found at one point in time, that's how you found where to skate. You know, you heard a rumor, you try to follow it, and it's either there or it isn't.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of the same thing that happened when we started going to Fruit Bowl. We were told about it. We found it. We were skating in it. And when we first started skating Fruit Bowl, and this is how far Fruit Bowl goes back, we were still riding narrower boards in that time. Yeah. And the thing that everybody was doing at that time was just getting over the light. Yeah. You know, getting over the light, getting over the light. Yeah. And then I remember we were skating with a bunch of people in those days there. Remember Bucky Olson with his roller skates? Yeah. And his brother Steve Olson, who everybody knows Stevie. And us and Steve Thomas and a couple other kids. Eric, again, that I mentioned before, was there. And we met Eric at the Concrete Wave is where we met Eric. But we were all skating there, and we were skating it often and improving our skills and getting better at it. And then one day we showed up, and Waldo was there. Yeah. Do you remember that? And we walked up to the shallow end of the pool just as he was dropping into the pool. And the very first thing that he did, and you've got to remember this pool was a public kind of a pool. It was in a sanitarium.
Yeah, so that's what I was saying. It was some kind of a big public
asylum. Yeah, and it was big. It was a big keyhole, but it wasn't real deep. It was only about 8 feet deep. It had really beautiful, like perfect transitions, and it had a flat bottom, so you had time. And it had on each side of it, light in the middle. On each side of it had a set of stairs to get out of the pool. But the coping was held back off the edge of the pool, and it had a drain.
There was a drain around the whole thing.
Around the perimeter of the pool. Yep. And it was tiled. And I remember the first thing I saw, first time I ever saw Waldo, he dropped into that thing, went out around the light on the tile, right? Went down to the bottom and carved over the stairs, went down and carved over the other stairs, and proceeded to go around the pool back and forth like that around the stairs. And I was like, holy shit. You know, I couldn't believe not only that somebody was doing that he was doing what he was doing, but how fast he was. And how smooth he was.
It was definitely, it was beautiful to watch, actually.
Yeah.
It was just, you're right, it was so smooth and seamless.
And he was on a narrow board with Road Rider wheels, I remember that. And I just couldn't believe how fast he was, how smooth he was, and how effortless it looked.
Do you know, eventually they ended up putting plywood into that gutter and extending it. I do remember seeing like a one-wheeler of, it was Waldo, off the top of a piece of plywood. You're nuts.
At that time, I think he was so far ahead of everybody else. And just an incredibly nice guy. I mean, just an incredibly nice guy. And funny, and he just was out there having a good time. And so obviously we started trying to do what he was doing. And eventually we were doing it. And then, and we also learned how to kick turn in that pool, I think, is where we started learning how to kick turn.
That was the easiest pool to ride.
It
was made for skateboarding.
It was a perfect pool. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I could be totally wrong with this, it was either Del Mar or Vista was built after that pool.
I think it was Del Mar, probably.
Yeah, it was shaped after that pool. And obviously without the gutter and everything.
Are you talking about the one over here in Vista, the one
right where
there's a dispensary there now?
Yeah, there used to be.
You know what? I was in that dispensary and I asked them, and they said it's just buried back there.
The pool?
Yeah, there was a couple things.
Yeah, they had a skate park there.
Skate park there, and they said it's buried. It's there.
Yeah, they used to. I think it was a pool
Yeah.
company
That's right.
that built the pool for skateboarding, and they built a small skate park in behind it,
Right.
which was not very good.
No, it wasn't.
But the pool was
Yeah,
unbelievable.
because it was a pool.
And I think maybe that pool was the pool that was built after. I don't know.
Might have been,
But that was a really good pool too.
Yeah.
That was a really good pool. But yeah, I mean, we were really fortunate in early years. We got to see a lot of people, meet a lot of people.
It's the time of discovery. You know, everything's new and exciting. Now it seems like everything's old and used.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. You just described us.
Well, the last thing I remember about the concrete wave, too, one of the things that sticks out is the day that the kids showed up from the East Coast and showed everybody the ollie.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name, but we'd never seen that before. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, you know, I kind of smirked, and I'm like, how the hell's he doing that? Mm-hmm. And he was teaching us how to do it and everything, and he's you know, he claimed that he invented it, and apparently he did. Yeah. And the next thing I knew, within months, it was everywhere. Yeah. Everybody was.
Well, that was the thing. A new trick comes out, and everybody's going to copy it or make it better, or change, improve it, or whatever. It was quite fun. A lot of fun.
Yeah. Good times.
Yeah.
A lot of scratches and scrapes and bruises. I think we both escaped, fortunately, without any broken bones.
Strawberries, raspberries.
Yeah. We both escaped without broken bones.
Yep, I didn't break anything.
I tweaked my wrists a few times,
yeah.
But I didn't. I don't think I broke anything.
You get the raspberries.
And
yeah.
You know, saw a lot of people with broken bones. Saw a guy with his leg basically twisted up behind him one day.
Ooh, remember Bobby Valdez? He was a cocky guy from I forget, he's from the valley or something. Uh-huh. We were riding a pool, and it was the strangest thing I ever saw. It was as if he blacked out after he hit the top, and when on the way back down, you could see his body just go limp, and he just went, just and chipped a piece of the plaster out of the bottom of the pool with his head. And ambulances, the whole 9 yard coming. But the weirdest thing, I don't think you were there. I remember I forget who I was with, but yeah, he just snapped his head. Head hit first. And he lived, but it was weird how it was like he just kind of went numb on the way down, like maybe he passed out or something. I think they said he did pass out on the way down or something from heat exhaustion or something maybe.
Yeah, it could have been.
That scared me to death, man. It was like first thing to hit was his head, and I'm like, oh man.
Yeah, I remember back in those days we didn't drink a lot of water and stuff, so he may have passed out from heat exhaustion. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember at the concrete wave I saw my share of broken bones and and nasty stuff, like the guy with the leg twisted up behind his head. And I remember a kid breaking his arm that worked there, and I went and got him, and I had his arm tied up in a sling, holding it in place on his chest. And I don't even remember his name. I had him sitting in the office, which was a little shack at that time. And I called his family, his sister, to come and get him. And she was coming to get him, and he passed out.
Oh yeah.
And he started, I thought he was going to choke on his tongue type of thing. His head was rolled back. So, I heard something like that. You stick your finger in his mouth, hold his tongue in place.
So you can bite your finger off.
And it's exactly, I had 2 fingers in his mouth, and he chomped down on top of my hand so damn hard.
Wow.
And just when I'm yelling at the top of my lungs, he comes through, and his sister walks in the office. She goes, "Why the hell do you have your hand down his throat?" He was choking us.
You're going to go, which one of you's hurt? Who's actually hurt?
Yeah, good times.
Yeah.
A lot of fun.
So that kind of sums up our skateboarding experiences, I think. I can't remember anything past that.
Well, there were other times, and we did a lot of different things. We didn't cover everything we did.
1:14 p.m.
Sorry about that. It's 1:14 p.m.
On Halloween.
On Halloween, 2025. But there were other things. and we'll, they'll come back to mind, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, we're just touching on our experiences with surfing and skateboarding, because we're going to get into some very specific topics later and just carry on like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah.
Crack you up, amaze you.
Yeah.
It'll be fun.
It'll be a good time.
Yeah.
It'll be a good time. And hopefully we'll be getting some guests in soon, and having a little Q&A going with them. And
Yeah, people that have shared the experience with us.
yeah, and then hopefully, just insiders in the industry, people, there's one, I don't know how Dennis feels about this, but I would have loved to have Harbor in here and talk to Harbor, because he's just an icon in the industry.
He's a brilliant man.
He was
very sharp, a brilliant person.
He was very smart. And, but I would, there are specific people that are important to me that I'd like to have in here. And one of them's Mike Wilson, and I wish Bruce Jones was still with us. I'd like to have Bruce in here because he was a great guy.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Dennis has some people that he wants to talk with too. So, but that's down the road. It'll come. I hope you're enjoying what we're doing.
Yeah, because we are.
Yeah.
So far.
And, we'll see where it goes from here. But I'm Paul.
I'm Dennis, and we're signing off.
We're signing off.
Boo!
Have a good Halloween.
And one day we're going to get somebody to shut this off.